Good morning, guys. For this morning, ang usapan natin is yung Mythbusters about your ascent to the corporate ladder. Lahat ng mga best practices, experiences, and mindsets and philosophies that we have collected over the years. Yun muna yung pag-uusapan natin ngayon. Alright, we have our co-host, si B1 at si B2. Pag halimbawa naka 1,000 subscribers tayo, nickname reveal. Sige, simulan natin. So meron tayong parang tatlo yung pag-uusapan natin. No? So number 1, hard work always pays off. Number 2, pag masipag at magaling equals people promote. Then number 3, being good at what you do will earn you a ticket to get promoted. Ang tanong, totoo nga ba to? Relevant pa ba to sa landscape ng corporate life natin sa ngayon?
Sa aming mga audience, for everyone's reference, kami ni Tol ay mga millennial kami. Sa TikTok kasi ngayon, Facebook Reels, ang laging content about work is work smart. Usually, it's about hacks. Parang instead of doing this, do that kasi it's more efficient, mas madali. Nanggaling kami dun sa panahon na hard work is a must. So, kailangan magsisipag ka. Ang perfect combination is you work hard and you work smart. Kasi working smart includes working hard. Now, sabi dito, hard work always pays off. Ang ko dito is hindi lagi or more like a not really. Siguro nung panahon ng mga nanay, tatay natin at mga panahon ng lolo't lola natin, ang talaga nila is dapat masipag ka para ka umasenso. Dahil sa COVID, medyo nag-iba na yung landscape ng corporate world. Kung gusto mo na ma-reward sa effort na ibinubuhos mo sa trabaho mo, may mga bagay na kailangan din nating i-work on. Aside from being good dun sa trabaho na nakasulat sa job description natin. So una, kailangan likable ka. So ano ba yung likable? Siya amalgam of so many things. Una, kailangan friendly ka. Hindi naman kailangan best friends mo lahat. Pero kumbaga dapat pag tinanong nila, ano ba si Pedro? Dapat yung nabubuong impression sa'yo ng mga katrabaho mo, mabait yan, matulungin yan, okay katrabaho yan, matinong kausap yan, reliable yan. Dapat ganon. Ganon yung nabubuong picture pag na-mention yung pangalan mo. Kasi when you do that, kakalat yun . Ito yung tipo ng chismis na gusto mong kumalat na si Pedro, okay yan. Wala kang problema pag yan ang katrabaho mo.
So, ganito na lang. If given that choice, meron dalawang magaling na employees. Pareho silang magaling, pareho mabilis, pareho masipag. Pero yung isa, masyado siyang stiff, masyado siyang stickler for rules, tapos masyado siyang direct to the point, i-call out ko niya kahit masaktan ka. Whereas yung the second person is may reputation siya for being highly flexible, forgiving, welcoming. Pero pareho silang magaling. Sino yung pipiliin mo? Di ba? That's likability. Parang itong taong to na yung mas magaang katrabaho, mabigat na yung trabaho . So, wag nyo nang dadagdagan na yung magiging kapartner mo pa is mabigat din, di ba? And that's likability.
So, nga Tol, so sa example mo, siyempre may minimum competence threshold. So, sa example mo, pareho sila magaling. Pero kung halimbawa, hindi magaling yung isa, no matter how likable the person is, you want to get the job done. Kasi hindi ba nakakapagtaka minsan, may nakikita kang mga tao na nasa mataas na pwesto. Pero alam mong hindi naman sila okay. Hindi nga kumbaga, nung analyst pa lang siya, hindi naman siya exceptional. Nung supervisor siya, minsan nadi-delay pa yung reports. Pero ngayon, manager na siya. O minsan, nagiging director pa. Depende sa company culture. Posibleng the likability might have that kind of impact.
Pero ano yun, Tol? Trust versus performance na graph. High performer of low trust, hindi siya likable. Magaling siya, pero kumag siya. Ayaw ng mga tao makapag-work sa kanya. Pag hindi kanya gusto, ito yung mga tipong tao na dahil kaya nila, they will orchestrate something behind your back that will ultimately cause your downfall. You should stay away from someone who's a high performer of low trust. On the flip side, yung low performer of high trust, yun, mas pinapabura nila. I would rather have someone who I can trust kahit nag-i-struggle siya, nadidelay yung mga deliverables, minsan parang lutang, pero you know that this person is someone you can rely on, someone you can trust, someone who's really willing to learn. Given enough time, they can cover ground, they can grow into the role. That's what I consider as likability, which explains bakit sa mga companies ngayon, kahit na hindi talaga siya super ultra magaling na employee. Pero bakit ganun? Palibasa, kabagang niya yung mga leaders kaya siya yung po-promote. Which is, it makes perfect sense. Kung ako yung pinaka-tuktok, tapos nakikita ko na itong taong to, kahit anong mangyari, kahit nakatalikod ako, will always look after yung business, will always look after yung kapakanan ng mga taong nakapaligid sa kanya, tsaka yung pagproteksyonan yung kapakanan ng kumpanya. Mas okay na ako dito, kahit di niya alam yung gagawin. Kasi, pwede kang, ipopromote ko to, lalagay ko sa ilalim niya yung mga taong magagaling. Siya, pwede kong pagtiwalaan, tapos siya naman, in turn, imomobilize niya yung mga magagaling para sila yung gumawa ng hindi niya kayang gawin.
Balik tayo, ability. So kaya again, sabi ko nga is it's a myth na hard work always pays off. So one was be likable and second, visible. That's a very tough lesson for me very early on in my career. Kailangan makita nung mga dapat makakita na okay pala siya. Ang ilaw, pag tinakpan mo, ano pang silbi ng ilaw? So, kailangan, para maging of value or of use, kailangan yung liwanag niya nakikita. Dun sa first job ko, after 1 year, pwede kang ma-promote from this level to the senior level in 1 year. Kung kakaiba ka talaga. Pero normally, after 2 years, yun yung usual na promotion cycle. Dun sa aking batch, ako yung tipo na parang resource person nila. So, text nila ako, paano ba ginagawa to? Kaya tatawag. I knew, masipag naman ako at medyo competent naman ako sa trabaho ko after 2 years. Kaya lang, nung supposedly promotion cycle na, sinabihan ako ng manager ko na, hindi ka ipopromote. Ganun sinabi. So, nagtataka ako kasi alam ko na yung mga taong nagtatanong sa akin, sila yung ipopromote. Bata pa ako nito, 22 years old. Yan. Sabi ko, bakit ganon? Sila nga nagtatanong sa akin sila ipopromote nyo, ako hindi. Ang sinabi sa akin hindi ka kasi visible. So, ano yung visibility? Night shift ako. So, pag may company event, guess what? Nasaan ako? Tulog ako. Kasi gabi yung trabaho ko for 1 month. Sa mga batang nagsisimula pa lang, make sure you're able to make yourself visible. You can volunteer or you can be strategic. Kasi minsan yung simpleng nagyoyosi break, yung iba sinasabayan nila yung mga boss. Kasi during those unguarded moments, relationships start to be formed. That's actually what visibility is.
Okay, sa akin naman dyan, visibility medyo double-edged sword yan. Especially sa mga bata, sa mga nagsisimula. Kasi there are a ton of ways in order for you to make yourself visible, but make sure that when you do, you're ready for the spotlight to shine on you. Kasi the bigger the spotlight, the bigger the target. Diba? So, meron ka na rin target dyan sa, may crosshairs na sa'yo. The moment na ginawa mong available yung sarili mo and the moment na ginawa mong visible yung sarili mo. Why am I saying this? Kasi kung nagsisimula ka pa lang a year into your first job, huwag mong isipin na, hindi ako visible. Hindi yun. Ang trabaho mo for your first year, mangolekta ka muna ng skills. Make sure na absolute and bulletproof yung ability mo to explain what you are doing and why you are doing it that way. Make sure that you know your task, your work, your process like the back of your hand. Then, you start to seek visibility. Give yourself that time to develop, kumbaga, to simmer and mature. Siguro, a year and a half, 2 years. Tignan mo lang kung ano yung dynamics. Tignan mo. And then, dun mo rin malalaman kasi kung sino yung mga tao na magbibuild ka ng strategic relationships para yung mga efforts mo to be visible, it falls on the attention of the right people. And in order for you to investigate those things, it takes time. If you are starting, hindi ka masyadong visible, there are also key decision makers na hindi rin ganun ka-visible. Unless you've spent considerable time in the process, saka mo lang makikita na, si boss ganito pala, siya pala talaga yung nagde-decide, no? Hindi pala yung yung project leader. Ang talaga palang decision maker is yung bihira lang umattend pero nasa kanya lahat. Those information na yun, malalaman mo pag if you give yourself time to really get plugged into the system and then be familiar with all of the levels of authority. So again, visibility is a double-edged sword. So you use it wisely kasi it will propel you, but it can also cast you in a bad light if you step into it unprepared.
So tulad din nung sa likability, may caveats. So the likability, syempre, hindi pwedeng likable ka lang. Dapat you meet the minimum requirement for competence. At kung sa sinabi nga ni kapatid, yung sa visibility naman, syempre dapat ready ka. Kasi nga, mamaya, para kang deer in the headlights, ay, grabe, sikat na ako. Tapos hindi ka pa pala ready. So you should be ready for the big time.
Move tayo sa second point
Sige.
natin. Pag masipag at magaling ka, mapopromote ka. Hindi always. Hindi siya talaga laging nangyayari. So, ang promotion kasi, especially if it's something na hindi mo in-applyan, there has to be a certain number of factors that is satisfied before you get that promotion. So number one, pag may available na role. What happened for me is I was not really looking for the promotion, pero I was just looking to improve. So I was only working on adding value dun sa role na yon na iniisip ko, pag ito nasolusyonan ko, magiging magaan yung buhay ko. Pero little did I know na yung palang efforts na ginagawa ko, because it was saving considerable dollars para sa global organization, they took notice. And nakita nila na lahat ng ginagawa ko is all driven towards pag-aangin lang yung buhay ko at saka yung buhay ng mga team members under me. And that became a signal to them. They approached me with a plan and said, so we are going to promote you.
Ako naman on the other side, so maganda yon. When you're a person of value, people will be drawn towards you. So sa example ni kapatid, they saw the value that he was providing to the company. So they just can't help but take a look at him, and then they decided, we need someone like that. Now, kwento ko naman yung sa karanasan ko naman in also one of the companies that we worked for. I saw there was a role. It's very attractive for me because I felt that it plays up to my strengths. So I told the head of HR na I'm interested in that role. And lo and behold, a few months later, I was transferred to that exact role. So anong ko doon? Kung si kapatid, ang ilan niya is be a person of value, dun sa aking karanasan na sa aking maikling kwento, you have to take ownership of your career. Those who are taking the initiative, the ones who will actually take control of their careers. Kasi hindi yun kasi itinuturo sa school na when you go to the workplace, you have to take charge of where you want to bring your career. Be a person of value. They can't help and they can't even deny. Something has to happen for this person. Pangalawa, be in the driver's seat.
Pero totoo, meron ako mga kakilala na they've spent more than a decade or almost 2 decades dun sa pinagtatrabahuhan nila. Meron naman ako mga ibang kakilala na hindi sila tumatagal ng more than 3 years sa isang company, na after 3 years magpapalit sila, and every time that they do that, nagiging transformation din sa kanila yung ginagawa nila, na they advance from one role to the other. They take on an increased scope. Nawala yung mga kausap ko, mga kaibigan. So, hindi ko alam nasan sila.
Nandito pa, Brad.
Ano pa?
Oo, Brad.
Yo!
Okay, good.
Lumayo lang ako, may ginagawa lang. Naputol yung headset ko eh. Naka-Bluetooth headset lang ako eh.
Sige,
Wala,
sige.
tuloy nyo lang.
Okay. So number 3 na ba
Number 3
tayo?
na, tol. Number 3 na. Ikaw naman.
Okay, number 3. Sa ating myth of getting ahead in the corporate world is being good at what you do will get you promoted. Ikaw, Tol, ikaw muna.
Ang isi-share ko na lang, whenever I'm being asked, how do I select staff levels to promote to the supervisor role or even readiness for the manager role. So pag nakakita ako ng mga nag-a-apply and then isa ako sa panel pag nagpo-promote ako ng supervisors ko before, I don't really look for yung expertise, but what I look for is leadership qualities, leadership skills. Hindi ako masyado dun sa pag magaling kasi ako, dapat ako na yung mapopromote. And there's that prevalent thought na it's almost always shared by everyone, especially pag yung mga first time na nag-work. I think this is partly because they're coming out of that mentality from the school, from college, na pag ikaw yung magaling, di ba? Ikaw yung first honor, ikaw yung leader, ikaw yung
Yung magaling.
di ba? So ngayon, pag napunta sila sa corporate world, feeling nila kailangan kong maging bibo sa process, kailangan kong matutunan to, kailangan ako yung pinakamabilis in order for me to get promoted. And then suddenly, they get confronted with the fact na yung manager na mag-hire does not really hold process expertise at a very high value dun sa decision-making process niya when it comes to selecting a leader. And the way we view leadership qualities is really much higher than process expertise. Kasi yung process expertise, pwede mo siyang ituro within 3 to 6 weeks. Pero yung leadership kasi, it takes months for you to develop the core concepts and competencies. It will take you like 3 to 6 months of consistent practice. Ikaw, Tol.
Kapatid, so babakas ako doon. I will piggyback on that. Corporate leadership qualities kasi, or the leadership skills na kinakailangan ng isang tao is a completely different skill set. Kung ikaw ang leader, may direction ng management. Hindi naman all the time mag-a-agree ka kasi tao ka nag-iisip ka din. Pero di ba, senior management, at times they will make decisions that might be unpopular but is necessary for the business to either thrive or survive. When it goes to the leaders at different levels, their job is not to question it. Their job is to imbibe it, communicate it, and rally their respective teams towards that. Yun yung ibig sabihin that leadership skills are very different as to process expertise. Kasi as a leader, your job is to position your team to succeed. Kung anong kailangan nila, you provide it. Kung kailangan mo silang i-shield from office politics, you have to be there. If you want to shield them from the pressure mula sa taas and make it understandable for them, and at times even take the hit for the team, those are things that a leader should be willing to do. Kung kailangan mong to exert some effort para yung mga blockers o mga balakid sa team members mo to be able to do their job and do it well, you have to do it. So, diba, hindi siya about what you do. Kasi nga, sabi nga ni kapatid, hindi to school. Hindi porke first honor ka, cum laude ka, magna cum laude ka, summa cum laude ka, ikaw yung leader. Hindi. Kasi iba yung pagiging magaling at pagiging leader. Yun ang hinahanap ng isang organisasyon pag naghahanap sila ng mga tao na pipiliin nila to lead people in the organization.
Ano yan, Tol?
Kapatid.
Pag ikaw leader, gusto mo, nasa ilalim mo, yung mga summa cum laude, yung mga magna cum laude, yan yung mga gusto mo. Kasi sila talaga, pag binigyan mo ng task, they will move heaven and earth para magawa nila. And pag sa leader kasi, your job is to make sure that they don't have to move heaven and earth. Dapat, pag binigay mo sa kanila yung trabaho nila, you're clearing the path for them para sila ngayon yung gagawa. And if it proves to be too difficult for them to handle, yun na yung sa leader. So which is why kung gusto mong ma-promote, you have to exhibit those leadership qualities. You have to operate at that scope and at that scale already, or at least convince management na meron kang kakayanan to operate at that scale in order for them to consider you as a viable candidate.
Ayos.
Alright, tingin ko sa portion na to, Q&A na tayo. Meron ba tayong questions dyan? Tanong natin si Tol.
Ano po, may katanungan po.
Meron ba tayong katanungan dyan, correspondent? Ano sabi ni correspondent?
Oo. Kasi kung halimbawa, situational lang.
Sige.
Kasi usually tanong ko lagi, kahit gaano ka mag-exhibit ng lahat ng leadership and all that qualities na meron ka, parang hindi ka naman mapopromote kagad dahil laging merong tao na nandun pa na parang sorry for the term, parang kailangan tayo mo pa mategi bago ka ma-promote. Paano yung ganun?
Sige, ako muna. So, siguro nakikita ko dyan, like what I've said earlier, para ma-promote ka kasi there are a certain number of conditions that have to be met. Number one is availability ng role. Kasi reality of things, hindi naman unlimited yung resources pampasweldo. You want to be more efficient in the way you spend. You want to make the most out of the amount that you're allotting for these roles. Kasi the salaries, compared to other industries, mas mataas siya. May mga individuals kasi na when they want growth, they look for growth outside of the company. And it's alright kung matagal na siya sa isang company, sa isang firm. But he or she knows na handa na siya. Ginagawa niyang trabaho is trabaho na ng pang branch manager. If I'm that person, I would seriously consider looking for another role sa ibang firm na naghahanap ng tao na mayroon ng capabilities ko. But again, that's not the only consideration. Siyempre, kailangan sipin mo rin benefits, proximity, tapos yung degree, yung relationship, yung strength ng relationships na na-build mo na dito sa current firm. Baka naman talagang it will still outweigh yung yearning mo to be promoted. Ikaw, Tol.
Salamat doon, kapatid. So again, dudugtungan ko lang. So unahin natin yung sinabi mong yung sa space. The thing with the banking industry at least sa Pilipinas, yung mga roles on those, posible kasi na yung isang tao will stay in a very specific role. Pero pwedeng yung job level niya tumaas. Local banks sa Pilipinas, maraming job levels. Like there's this local bank, may 3 staff level. Tapos junior assistant manager level. 6 na agad yun. Tapos assistant manager, 7. Tapos may manager, manager 2, senior manager. Imagine mo, siyam na yun bago ka maging manager kung magsisimula ka sa pinakailalim. Pagpalagay na natin na 1 year each level. So imagine mo, abutin pa ng 9 years bago maging manager. So posible na sa mga ibang roles sa bangko, pwede kang magstay sa isang trabaho, pero pwede kang ma-promote for a number of times. Another form of availability is kung meron namang opening sa ibang department na promotion and may overlap naman yung skills mo and experience and you are quite confident that you'll be able to do the job. So, you take ownership of your career. Madaming mga bankero na talagang sinasadya nilang palipat-lipat sila every 2, 3, 4 years. Kasi nga, that's how they get promoted to which end? For financial gains, benefits, and pagtaas ng kanilang status. Yung job level mo in the banking industry is quite important. Sana mapapasok yung leadership. As long as hindi specialize ang function sa bangko, a lot of banking jobs require relationship management. Nasa branch ka, sa cash management ka, nasa branch banking ka, lahat yan requires managing relationships for both internal stakeholders, external customers. That requires leadership and it goes beyond, managing people. It's also about being able to influence people to do things ideally for mutual benefit of all concerned. I've been to 7 companies and I've been to 5 industries. I've traversed different industries. Leadership skills usually are transferable. Yun ang hinahanap nila.
Meron pa ba tayong phone-in question dyan?
Very well said. Candidate number 1 and candidate number 69. Thank you.
Meron pa ba? Wala na yata tayong questions for today.
Wala pa akong maisip, Brad
Hindi, Brad. Hindi iniisip mo. Yung kinoment sa atin.
Kinoment ba sa atin? Sorry.
Wala pa.
Scroll down ko lang. Naghahang yung messages sa akin, Brad. Wait lang.
Tingin ko, marami na tayo na covered. And siguro kung meron pang additional questions, pwedeng ilagay na lang sa comment section. And then the next episode, we will try to revisit this topic and then cover the questions. And then siguro by that time, we will move on to our next topic. Okay.
Comments lang kayo, guys. Kung ano pang gusto nyo pag-usapan natin, ilagay nyo lang sa comment section.
Paalam sa mga kababayan natin dyan.
Guys, have a good weekend.